All right, if you're prepping for the December 2025 exam, this is for you. We're about to do a real deep dive into the Levwell Plc case study. We're going to connect all the dots so you can build a killer analysis. Let's jump right in.
So, let's get to know our main character here, Levwell Plc. At its heart, Levwell is a 4-star hotel chain. They've got 35 properties and they're scattered all across the country of Essland. Now, a really key detail here is that they own and operate every single one of their hotels themselves.
But a company isn't an island. To really get what makes Levwell tick, to understand their strengths and their weaknesses, we've got to zoom out first. We need to look at the world they're competing in every single day.
Okay, so first things first, a quick 101 on the hotel industry in Essland. Think of this as setting the stage, the battlefield where Levwell has to fight to win.
In Essland's hotel world, you've basically got two types of guests, and they could not be more different. On one hand, you've got your business travelers. They're on the company card, so price, not a huge deal. But they absolutely need convenience and solid Wi-Fi. On the other hand, you have your leisure guests. They're spending their own hard-earned cash, so they're watching every penny. They're looking for great facilities and a nice, relaxing atmosphere. And understanding the split, it's everything. It drives pretty much every decision a hotel is going to make.
So how do hotels get rated in Essland? Well, it's all about climbing this star ladder, and it's all handled by the National Tourist Board. 1 star, super basic, just a room. 2 stars gets you your own private bathroom. 3 stars, now we're talking. You get a restaurant and a bar. And this is where Levwell lives, 4 stars. That means you need a whole range of amenities right there in the room, plus leisure facilities. Think pools, spas, that kind of thing. And at the very, very top, 5 stars. That's just pure world-class luxury and super personalized service. Each step up is a big deal, a bigger investment, and a new promise to your guests.
All right, we've got the customers, we've got the rating system. Now let's talk about the business side of things. What's the playbook for actually running a hotel in Essland? There are really 2 main ways to go about this. You can be owner-managed, which is exactly what Levwell does. This gives you total control, right? You call all the shots on strategy, and you can create a really unique, one-of-a-kind experience. The other option is franchising. You basically pay a big brand for the right to use their name and their systems. The upside? Instant brand recognition. The downside? You've got to play by their rules. It's that classic business trade-off. Do you want total control or the support of a big system?
And this is not an easy business to be in. Not at all. Every hotel out there is dealing with the same stuff. Fierce competition, the economy taking a downturn while costs for everything are going up. Finding and keeping good staff is a nightmare. Turnover is just ridiculously high. And on top of all that, you've got demand that can be super seasonal, the threat from home-sharing sites, and this growing pressure from customers to be more sustainable. It's a lot to juggle.
Okay, with that industry picture now firmly in our heads, let's zoom right back in on our focus company and see how they're navigating all of this. It's time to properly introduce Levwell Plc. So here's how all those pieces we just talked about fit together for Levwell. They are a 4-star, owner-managed chain. That's their DNA. They're set up in these beautiful rural and coastal spots, and they are laser-focused on that leisure guest we talked about earlier. And here's their special sauce, their unique selling point. Unlike the big cookie-cutter chains, every single one of their 35 hotels is different. It has its own style, its own personality.
And this right here? This is their North Star. Their mission is simple but really powerful: to provide an exceptional experience for every guest every time they visit. And believe me, this isn't just some nice-sounding phrase on a poster. It really is the driving force behind every single decision they make.
So, how do they actually pull that off, day in and day out? Let's lift the hood and take a look at the engine room, how Levwell actually operates.
First up, let's follow the money. Okay, so room revenue, no surprise there, that's the biggest slice of the pie at 62%. But, and this is really interesting, look at this. Food and drink makes up a whopping 33% of their income. That tells you something important. For Levwell, the restaurant isn't just an afterthought. It's a huge part of their business, a key piece of that exceptional experience puzzle.
So to make all this happen, they've got this smart system, a mix of centralized control and local touches. Things like bookings and buying major supplies, that's all handled from the head office to keep things efficient. But down at the hotel level, the restaurants are sourcing ingredients locally, which really helps build that unique local feel. And to make sure the quality is always high, no matter which hotel you're at, they rely heavily on what are called Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs. These are basically detailed rule books for everything, from cleaning a room to checking a guest in. It's all about consistency.
Okay, so the strategy sounds pretty solid, right? The operations seem to make sense. But the big question is it actually working? And what are the risks hiding in the shadows? Let's dig into their performance numbers and the risks they're worried about themselves.
First, the top-line revenue. And wow, this is a pretty picture. You can see that revenue has been growing steadily and consistently over the past 5 years, climbing from $182 million all the way up to $229 million. So clearly, people like what they're selling.
And it's not just growth for growth's sake. As their revenue has been climbing, so has their operating profit margin, from 13.2% to 14.1%. This is a fantastic sign. It means they're not just getting bigger, they're actually getting better at what they do, more efficient and more profitable.
So what about that mission? Are they delivering that exceptional experience? Well, if you ask the guests themselves, the answer is a huge yes. Their satisfaction scores are fantastic, always hovering around 4.4 out of 5. This is the proof in the pudding, right? It shows their core strategy is really working for their customers.
But here's the red flag, the big warning sign. Just look at that employee turnover. I mean, yeah, it's gotten a tiny bit better, but it is still incredibly high at 39%. Remember how we said high staff turnover was a massive problem for the whole industry? Well, Levwell is right in the thick of it, and this is a direct threat. How can you provide exceptional service when your staff are constantly leaving?
And this ties right into the risks that the company's own board is worried about. That people risk, not being able to attract and keep good staff, it's right there on the list. But they're also flagging other things: intense competition, the tricky business of getting pricing just right, and, this is a big one, their reliance on their own in-house IT systems that aren't on the cloud. In a world of smart AI-driven tech, this could be a real Achilles heel.
Okay, we've gone through the industry, the company, the numbers, the good and the bad. Let's pull it all together into one clear, strategic takeaway.
So, when you lay it all out, this is the strategic picture of Levwell. On the one hand, their strengths are undeniable. A great brand reputation, guests who love them, and consistent growing profits. But their vulnerabilities are just as stark. That dangerously high employee turnover, which puts their service quality at risk, their old-school in-house IT and a cloud-first world, and the fact that they're not using modern yield management software, which means they are almost certainly leaving money on the table every single day. And that brings us to the core strategic question for Levwell, the thing you really need to think about. Their entire brand, everything that's made them successful, is built on tradition, on doing things their own way. So the question is this: in an industry that's changing at lightning speed, is that tradition their greatest strength, or is it slowly turning into their biggest weakness?